call an audible because a big part of what we do in this thing, right?
We like audibles.
We'll call the audible because in this moment, this is kind of where it goes. And, you find out that the folks from the area are following the Supernovas, and he's a great storyteller when it comes to explaining what it is that we find intriguing about women's pro volleyball and what it's doing for the community, because what it's doing for Omaha and what it's doing for the country. There are young ladies around the country who are being moved by it. Let's welcome Anthony Lionheart Smith to the postgame show. Listen, it's so good to see you here, first of all, and I'm impressed, right? For you to come, you're sporting the Supernovas gear. You brought family and friends. Anthony, please tell us, first of all, how the heck are you? You got some news coming up, right?
Yeah. So I'm in training camp. We just started training camp this week. I'm fighting in Brazil May 4th, UFC 301 versus Vitor Petrino. He's number 15 in the world. I'm number 10, so I'm kind of defending my spot right now. I think in all sports, you're kind of in one of two positions. You're either climbing to the top or you're defending your position. Yeah. I'm defending right now. It's a young up-and-comer, so it should be a good time.
Through all of this and to find out, so we're calling a match here a few weeks ago, and I look on social media, and Anthony's in the building, and I'm like, wait a minute, are you at the Supernovas match, bro?
Of course.
What are you doing, right? What are you doing? Well, he's here. Explain to me how you become a Supernovas fan.
Well, so we're a big volleyball family. We're huge Husker volleyball fans. My wife played in college. My oldest daughter plays club volleyball, super competitive.
Hint.
She does. She plays. And just watching professional volleyball is a big deal for our family. I think historically it's, women play volleyball. They play the club level. They go to high school. They go to college. And then after that, if you're really, really good, then you play internationally. And if you're not, you go on to whatever the rest of life is. And I think that the Supernovas and professional volleyball create this totally different platform for women's volleyball. And it's really fun for me. Every time a new player comes in, I love looking at the roster. Like, where do they play? Where are they from? And I don't know, it creates a story. It's a lot of fun for us. And I just love seeing like high level athletes do their thing. I like it. A lot of times I don't care what that thing is. I just want to see people compete at the highest level. As a man with 4 daughters, watching professional volleyball right here in Omaha is incredible.
What does this do for your daughters? Like, I see the look on their face and the excitement. We get the opportunity to let them come to practice, and the looks on their faces. Look, it's a different thing, man. It's a different vibe. What does this do for your daughters? What's it say to them?
Well, if you think about, I don't have boys, but I see a lot of my friends that have boys, and they see football players and they see all these other professional sports, and that's the thing that they want to be. I want to play for the Chiefs. I want to be Travis Kelce. A lot of times if you're a girl and you play volleyball, you don't have that thing that you look at, that you can see on TV, that you see the arenas that are sold out. They don't get to see that. And the Supernovas create that thing for my daughters, and them allowing us to come into practice, and we weren't trying to be special there. They wanted to shag balls for the players. That was like the biggest thing in the world for them. So it's creating this other platform and this other thing for girls and other ladies to look at. And for me, I was raised by all women. I have all daughters. I'm surrounded by nothing but women. So the more opportunities and the more bigger things that we can build for women, I'm all about. So as much as I can support the Supernovas, if it's just me in the crowd with a beer and some popcorn screaming my head off, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, it's impressive, and it means a lot, right? That for all the busyness that you have going on, all the things that you're going on, you choose to be a part of the Pro Volleyball Federation, and then you choose to sit down. You choose to go to practice. You choose to speak about it. And I know what's next for you, because I know you're now going to shout about Pro Volleyball Federation and Supernovas to a mass of people that may not be prepared for it, right? They may not know that Anthony Smith's going to co-sign this really cool thing.
I'll co-sign it as loud as I can. I don't think that a lot of times people understand how hard it is to do what these women are doing. Like, even me watching it, like I know volleyball like intimately. Like, my wife has educated me from day one in 2009. Yeah. And that's all we watch. And watching the decision making that it takes at the net, and the just the skill level that it takes to play at this level is so like I'm a professional athlete and I have been since 2008. I can't do what they do.
How about that?
I can't do what they do.
You do other things well.
I do, but
that they can't do.
There's brawn and there's finesse, and the finesse and the skill level that these women possess it's on another level. Like there's not that many people walking the planet that can do what they do. There's really not, and there's not a lot of people that can do what I do. So I understand how difficult it is to be at that level and to stay at that level. And I think this is a little bit of a different deal too. Like it's the transition of club volleyball, high school, college, and then you go into professional. Like they're playing at this level at a little bit of an older age. So like them playing at such a high level as they've gotten older and still being able to maintain that is one of the most impressive things, because I'm dealing with it myself. As I've gotten older, I've had to figure out ways to stay competitive with the younger generation of athlete. Everything that they do is impressive to me. And that's what I told them at the practice. Like, you guys are awesome. I don't know how you do it, but it's incredible.
What does it do for your daughter? She's 12 years old. Tell the folks about your oldest daughter, because she's impressive.
Yeah, she's 12. She's 6 foot tall. She plays middle, and she's amazing at what she does. And sometimes we were sitting here earlier, and the Novas got behind a little bit, and you see them getting frustrated. I think something that my daughter does better than a lot of athletes that I've seen is she is brainless at times, and that's on purpose. She forgets when things go bad. If she swings really big and it sails out, she'll forget about it before it's even called out, and she just goes on to the next point. And I think that's something that just naturally she's like, it is what it is. I'll get the next one. And I think that moving forward is going to be beneficial for her. But if that's something that moving forward we can, like I plan on hanging out with the Novas and going to more practices and just, bringing them into that mindset a little bit and like just taking it one at a time and slowing it down a little bit. I hope that that's something we can do. But it's in terms of her watching them play and compete, like she is tuned in to what they're doing and just seeing something that she loves so much at such a high level. It's just different. Like this right here is going to create a whole nother generation of volleyball player that it's just going to continue to elevate the game.
So who is her favorite player? Because I know, like, growing up, I had favorite players that I watched, right? And so obviously now she has a professional to watch. She probably has college favorite players. Who's her favorite Supernova?
Dela Cruz, for sure. And I think she wants to swing like her, for sure. She loves Lindsay Krause a lot. Yep. She plays at the same club that Krause played at. She was cut from the same team that Krause was cut from, and then they go and they work hard, and when nobody's watching, they come back and they try out again and then make the team. So that's kind of the journey that she's on right now. Those are the two players that stand out to her.
Very cool.
Well, I know that there's a camp coming up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of camps coming up. It's about to be camp season.
Coach Saunders, what do you suggest for his young lady?
I mean, the bottom line is when you're that young, it's all about the love, right? Like you have to be having fun, you have to be enjoying it, and you have to keep getting better. And I think the one thing that I see the most watching professional volleyball is how important it is to be versatile.
Right.
And so I think of a 12-year-old who's tall, they put her in the middle. Do they ever let her pass? Do they let her serve?
Right.
So to me, those would be, for a 12-year-old, really important skills to have long term, right? Because I mean, everybody sees the tall kids like, you're going to be in the middle,
right?
Everybody sees the little person and be like, you're going to go back row. And this volleyball in the United States, the club level, the high school level, and the college level is set up so that the tall kids are in front, the little kids are in back, and that's just how it is.
Right.
And so I'm hoping, and this includes like my own program, I'm hoping that kids seeing this understand how important it is to do everything.
Right.
You don't have to be a setter, but did you see Shelly Fanning setting?
Yeah.
I was like, she's a middle, and she's like spinning and, doing all these things. But I think that's probably like the important thing. Obviously, camp season coming up and, refining your skills. But I think the bottom line is you have to love what you're doing. Right. Like you don't continue competing.
No, you can't do what you do long term at a high level if you don't love it.
Correct. It's a passion. It's an absolute passion. So you went to practice, you watched practice. What players stood out to you the most in terms of like how they do their job to you?
I mean, I know I'm like picking the low hanging fruit, but it's Dela Cruz. Like she has a different mindset than the rest of the team. Like even having the conversations with her, Coach Bird was really interesting to me too. She, like, when you speak to someone that's playing or doing anything at a high level, you can kind of tell, like, these are the people that are really grinding or just kind of happy to be there. And like Coach Bird and Dela Cruz were, I don't know, their mindsets were different. Like, first of all, she was very, very kind, but she was also very humble. And I heard her like having conversations like, well, I'm really good here. I'm not so great here. And that's like something that she's either hiding or trying to work on. And the best athletes that I've ever run into, whether it's Tom Brady or Charles Barkley or whoever, like, they're really quick to tell you where they suck and what they do to fix that, whether that's more practice or whether that's refining their other skills around that to hide that, that deficiency. Right. And that was something that was really impressive to me. She could have, in front of, I don't know, I had 4 daughters there and me, and not like I'm a volleyball player. So she could have been like, I'm really great here and I'm awesome, and really just told us how great she was. And she spent that time to tell us where she's bad and what she's doing about it. I thought that was a big deal.
I think that's awesome, but it's exactly what high level athletes do. Right. Because if you can't recognize your weaknesses and find a way to make them better, then people exploit it.
Well, I feel like when you look through the roster and in the handout that everybody gets, there's a reason that, like, when everyone is a university or this college or this state college, and hers says 2-time Olympian, there's a reason for that. There's a reason. And like, I think that mindset goes right into that, because she's as physical as anyone here. Like, she's as physically impressive as anybody here, the way she moves and jumps and swings and the power and the speed. But like, everyone has that, right? There's got to be something that makes a difference, that makes her stand out. And I think it's her mindset. And in the short conversation that I have with her, it's like, that's what it is. That's the difference.
Yeah, the it factor.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes her different and stand apart from everybody else. And as a person who's in a sport that everybody's tough and has to be the tough guy that has no weaknesses, I'm usually the first one to say, like, I'm not very good at this thing, and this is what and I hide it, because as I've gotten older, I've had to come to terms with I can't fix it at this point. I'm too old. I have to hide it, and she was kind of the same way.
I think with age also comes the idea of working smarter, not harder.
Right.
Like, you utilize your strength and your power at certain times, and you don't wear yourself out, and you know when you need to go a little faster or take a little bit off or save your transition or get a big transition or go for the serve, or you just learn.
Well, she spent a lot of time off the court too, and so seeing her, like, she could have been, I don't know, kind of irritated and not super happy about that, but instead and that's what I do as an athlete. I watch her encouraging her teammates and like coaching from the sidelines and like making small adjustments with her teammates. Like, that's what high level sports is about.
Yeah, it was 100. Like, one of the practices I went to early on, she literally took Betty aside with Nadi, or Betty took Nia aside with Nadi, and they were working on her swing and like literally coaching her and helping her. And then I'm watching, and then I see Nia tonight, 9 kills, plays phenomenal. Kind of, we've been waiting for this to happen, but it's that experience teaching the youth.
Right.
Who's your protege? Who do you teach?
Yeah, I have a couple young guys that are underneath me. There's his name's Cody Brundage is one of them. He's a kid from Denver. He's originally from Michigan, but we all train in Denver together now. He's a huge at UFC 300 against Bo Nickel, former 3-time NCAA Division I national champion. It's a huge fight. I think skills and abilities, like, all, compared, I think Cody's way better. Bo has a lot more experience at the highest level. Obviously, winning 3 national titles at the Division I level. It's a huge deal. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the guys that I take under my wings. The younger guys that have the skills and abilities, and physically and technically, a lot of those guys are better than I am. I'm just smarter and I make better decisions, and I'm calmer in the fire, I think. So I think that if I can give a little bit of that to them, I think kind of what Dela Cruz does to everybody else, like just give them some of that, the small details that make big advances in your game. That's what I like to do.
That's awesome.
One of the toughest SOBs I've ever met.
I try not to be.
He's barely human.
It's easier to be good.
He's barely human, but he's also one of the kindest. I think the big part of Lionheart is the kindness.
I appreciate
in his heart. He's a good man, and I have to be honest and be transparent that when I'm at UFC events, you always make me feel like I belong there.
Yeah,
I'm welcome there. So much so, and want to be clear, Anthony is constantly being recruited because
from time to time.
Yeah, because we need for Nebraska to hear you more often. You are a fantastic ambassador for Nebraska, what it generates, what it does, and the product that it produces. The rest of the world knows that Nebraska produced Anthony Lionheart Smith.
I mean, and Nebraska produces a lot. They really do, and I wish that we got the praise and the attention and I don't know, the admiration that a lot of other places in the country gets.
I'm trying.
There's a lot of great people that come out of Nebraska, and I wish more people paid attention.
Well, that's the mission forward. Is that with you, the Dobers, and we're gonna keep talking about it.
You know, everywhere I go, I always ask. Like, so I work for ESPN. I'm working the desk, and everywhere I go, I always ask, like, you guys have a professional volleyball team? I always ask it, like, I don't know why it's such a big deal to me. Like, I want everybody to know about it because it's so much fun. It is so much fun. It's such a family activity for us. Like, my kids all day today, we're like, is it time to go? We want to watch the Novas. They're so excited about it.
It's so cool to see, like, a girl dad, right? Like, with their kids at these games, helping them dream. Like, to me, it like makes it, I don't know, it's special. You get to see this, like, cool relationship with dads and their kids and their daughters, and, like, hey, like, that could be you, you know, like you didn't have that before. It's a really cool thing to see.
I think that is, like, the biggest deal. It seems so simple, and we can spend all the time in the world saying what the Supernovas do for girls in Omaha volleyball, but really just being able to say, like, that could be you someday. Like that's the first thing I said to Araya when we were leaving the very first game we came to. That could be you. Like, you could go on and play in college and do all the best things in the world, and then come right here in Omaha and play.
It's awesome. I still, like, every time we talk about it, like, you know, the fact that these young ladies have professional women to look up to is a game changer. It's a game changer, you know, because before your career was over at college, or your career was over if you made it to the Olympics, if you were that lucky, or if you chose to go overseas. But, like, they can do it here in front of awesome fans like this. It's a game changer. And I think you're right. I think it's going to change the game moving forward.
For sure.
Because now they're seeing something, they're dreaming bigger. They're going to want more.
Yeah.
And they're going to want that challenge, and that, and, you know, they're going to have posters on their walls at home and role models to look up to. And I think that the Supernovas are, like, ideal role models for these kids, as human beings and as volleyball players.
I wanted this conversation to happen because I knew with you, the two of you together, there's some things that kismetly can happen. Like, we can kind of put it in play. Listen, kind sir, thank you for everything you do away from here, everything you do while you're here, and everything you're about to do. You are, you're a wonderful ambassador and just a damn good dude.
I appreciate that.
Thank
you very much.
So
I'm glad I got to jump on here with you guys for a little bit.
Oh, appreciate it. But this ain't the next. This is just the next time, not the last time. Not the last time. Anthony Lionheart Smith, UFC, ESPN. We'll toward the break when we come through. Oh, they're kicking us out. Oh, okay. 8,114 is the attendance. How could I
what's that say?
I don't even.
Batman?
That doesn't even look like English.
I don't even know what that was. 8,114.
What did that say?
Tonight at CHI Health Center. Again,
I don't know what that said.
DP, Coach Renee Saunders, Anthony Lionheart Smith, Enrique Alvarez Clary. Don't go anywhere. When we come back from the break, Gina Mancuso-Prozowski will join us and break down some of the good news from what we saw tonight. Atlanta wins it 3-1. Supernovas get to fire it up again Saturday against Orlando. We'll be right back to the Supernovas Radio Network.